I've said it before and I'll say it again. I am an absolute fantasy girly. Okay? I love rich worlds. I love whimsy. I love magic wielding protagonists. I love intricate magic systems, all of it. And fantasy delivers on that every single time. Growing up, I always wished I had some type of magical power, but never really panned out that way for me. I literally woke up on my 16th birthday, well, expecting to get a sit down talk from my parents telling me that I was like a witch or I was the chosen one or something. And I got none of that. However, I still gravitated towards these books where the oppressed would fight back against their oppressors and they would actually win. But for some reason or other, these characters rarely looked like me, or rarely did we ever share a background. When I discovered Black fantasy for the first time, it almost felt like liberation. Like maybe I had the superpower all along. And ever since then, anytime I see a Black fantasy book, I'm like, oh, I have to add it to the TBR. Like it's an actual requirement. Thankfully, nowadays I feel like Black fantasy is way more popular than it was previously. But I still think there are some amazing reads that we need to talk about more in the book community. So I brought you guys here so we can talk about them. Not here though, because it's kind of rainy. But now that I've gotten my bagel, let's get into some books. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. And we are going to be getting into some Black fantasy recommendations as promised. I'm cozy now. I ate my bagel, so let's get into it. I have my list here, so if you see me looking down, it's because I made a list of all the books that I want to mention today, so I don't leave anyone out. And these are in no particular order, but I put this one first specifically because it is the fall season, and I feel like this book encapsulates that perfectly. So first up, we have A Blade So Black by L.L. McKinney. A Blade So Black is a Alice in Wonderland retelling of the sort, and it follows this young girl in Atlanta whose father dies at Comic-Con, which is like her favorite event. Her father dies, and then afterwards she is attacked by a nightmare. And then she gets pulled into this alternate universe wonderland where she has to fight these nightmares. She ends up meeting a couple of wackadoo characters, and they work together to train her to fight nightmares. I loved it. It's a trilogy. I breezed through these 3 books. I think I read them back to back. I love the vibe of them. I love the characters. And what's really interesting about this book is the relationship with her mother that she had. Her mother was extremely overprotective. And every single time, whenever she was like trying to like sneak out of the house and, go to like this new world, her mom was like, where are you, what are you doing, where have you been, like, always just like on her ass. And I feel like in a lot of like fantasy books, whenever the child is just off doing something, like the parents just feel so disconnected from what's happening in the actual story. Like they have no clue that their child is having near death experiences. And I feel like that definitely was not the case in this book. They definitely give you the Black mom experience, and I loved that about it. It's a great read. I don't really see many people talking about it at all. It is a YA book, but I think it could be engaging for readers of all ages. It's like Alice in Wonderland, but make it badass, make it Black, and make it kind of scary, but not really. Next, we have Dread Nation by Justine Ireland. This is a historical fantasy that has Black monster hunters. So this is set in alternate America in which the Civil War was interrupted by a zombie apocalypse. And so we follow Jane, and Jane is training to be a bodyguard for white women. She's a mixed race girl, and she's been forced into this like academy where they have to learn to fight zombies to essentially be a decoration for the wealthy elite. Jane is a very curious, a very nosy character, and she stumbles across a conspiracy that could bring detriment to the society. Oh no! She has to confront a lot of the racism, sexism, classism, all within the society while fighting zombies. Jane is a super badass character. You guys know that's like one of my favorite archetypes. She is not afraid to run headfirst into the fire. I got into Justine Ireland a little bit last year, and I really, really enjoyed her books. She tends to write a lot of historical fantasy, and I think that she does a really good job at intertwining all of these different elements and keeping the reader super engaged. This was another book, Dread Nation. It's a duology, and I read both books like back to back as well. I loved it. I thought that the plot line, the conspiracy, everything that's going on had me like, what is happening? And then also like every side character, the little like relationships that they were building, the sisterhoods, all of that was really beautiful to me. And so I think you should read it. Next, we have another Justine Ireland book, and this is Ophi's Ghost. This is another historical fantasy that follows Ophi. She is a 12-year-old girl who discovers that she can see ghosts after her father is murdered by a white mob in the 1920s. After her father is murdered, her and her mom escape to Pittsburgh, and they begin working as maids in this mansion for this white family. And hint hint, of course, this mansion is haunted and it has a lot of different spirits living within this home. And so Ophi begins to experiment with her gift and make friends with some of the ghosts in her some of the ghosts in this manner. In this story, we follow Ophi as she's navigating prejudice, racism, grief, mourning her father that just passed away, while also trying to understand this new gift that she's just come into realization that she's had, that she never even knew was possible, and trying to understand what her purpose is. Loved this book so much. I think Ophi is such an adorable character. She is so sweet. She is so inquisitive, and following along on her like coming of age story, I adored it. I adored it, and I think that you should pick it up. This fourth book, and I feel like I've talked about this on my channel before, we got to get into a little Akwaeke Emezi. So that is Pet. Pet follows a young trans Black girl as she realizes that there may be monsters in Lucille. So Lucille is the city that she lives in, and it's said that the angels got rid of all of the monsters and that there's no monsters in Lucille. So everybody stopped looking for monsters. And Jam realizes that there are monsters. The writing in this is so good. The storytelling, the magic system that is used within this is so odd. I'm like, wait, how does that work? Like who are the angels? What is an angel? This is one of those books that I recommend to literally every single person I meet. It is one of those ones that when I read it, this is my first book that I ever read by Akwaeke Emezi, and I was like, wow, this is a banger. They are an amazing author. The imagery, everything. I picked this up randomly. I had never heard of Akwaeke Emezi before. I picked it up, I read it, and I instantly became a fan. And now they're one of my instant buy authors. I think this is a book that honestly should be taught in schools. It teaches young children to speak up and look around at what's going on and really pay attention, because when you think there's no monsters, that's how the monsters get away. Keeping going with more Akwaeke Emezi, I want to talk about. Oh, sorry. I want to talk about Somadina by Akwaeke Emezi. Somadina is a coming of age story about a girl who goes on a quest to find her twin brother, while also trying to understand her newfound powers and what she is meant to do with these newfound powers. She's afraid that she has some darkness in her, that she is not good. So Medina takes place in a universe in which everyone gets powers. When they become of age, when they go through puberty, everyone gets powers. And if you don't get powers, you're weird. And so Medina thought that maybe they weren't going to get powers, and it was a concern if her family wasn't going to get powers. But when she does, it is a big whoop. It is a big whoop to do, because she's a lot more powerful than anyone had ever suspected. And there are people who are afraid of her, and she is afraid of herself and her own power. And so she has to go on this journey to figure out who she is, what she is, but also she needs to find her brother who went missing also when he got his powers. And I loved the sibling relationship in this book. I thought it was very cute. They're twins, so they have a very like deep connection with each other, and that's definitely played upon in the book heavily, that kind of yin and yang. But it's also just about her making connections with her other family members as well, her sister and her grandfather, who she was previously estranged from, and then she kind of gets to know them or gets to understand them a little bit better. um, what I will say is that her mom, not my favorite person in this book, not my favorite person, but you'll have to read it to figure out why. Next, we have The Black God's Drums by P. Jelly Clark. This is a fast paced tale that follows a young, scrappy teen as they try to get off the streets of New Orleans by joining an airship, a smuggler airship, as they are looking for some mysterious weapon called the Black God's Drum. But what the captain of the airship and the people on this airship don't realize is that this young girl has the voice of Oya in her head. And Oya is an African Orisha, and she can hear her talking to her, and she also sometimes she grants her gifts. It's able to manipulate the wind, so it's like she can help the airship on its way through its journey going to wherever. But Oya also has her own motives for why she wants to find the Black God's Drum. And so all of these things are coming together. Now, P. Jelly Clark, I've talked about it a lot on this channel. You guys, listen to me when I say pick up their books, read them. I find them so entrancing, every single book. And the characters are so witty, so sarcastic, and just super funny. So this book will have you pulling at your heartstrings, have you stressed, and have you laughing all at the same time. The Black God's Drums. Read it. Read it. It's so short. It's literally, I finished it in like one day. Literally so short, but it's so good. And it's such an interesting concept that I feel like I haven't read much about. And so I feel like people haven't really been talking about the Black God's Drum. So I'm talking about it, and I'm telling everybody to read it. The next book that I want to talk about is actually a graphic novel, and that is Ayanu by Roy Okuno. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. So this is a graphic novel, and it draws from Nigerian culture, and it follows this young girl who is growing up in basically a magical kingdom. But she's growing up like kind of outside of this magical kingdom, but she like yearns to be a part of it and play with the kids and just be like a normal girl. But then some divine powers are awakened, and it kind of all centers and revolves around her. And she realizes things about herself and who she is and who her parents were because she's an orphan. And so she realizes that she's actually she has a lot more power than she thinks that she does. And so it kind of follows her journey as these powers are awoken, and she has to figure out how to survive because this kingdom doesn't want these powers to be here because then they lose control. It's a little drama, and I'm pretty sure they're making it a TV show. So before you guys watch it, you should read it. Next, we have a little N.K. Jemisin. And I know everybody knows the Broken Earth trilogy, the fifth season, and all of the books following it. And I love the fifth season. Like, I love the Broken Earth trilogy. So well done. N.K. Jemisin will always have a fan out of me. But I want to talk about her duology, The City We Make. The City We Make is about the personification of the 5 boroughs of New York. So each borough is basically a person. There's NYC, the city, they have a person, but because New York is so big and it has so many different types of people, because the city, so the person is supposed to be representative of who the city truly is. But since there's so many different versions, of New York and so many different people in New York, they kind of get broken up into the different boroughs. So each borough has a different personification, basically. There's Queens, there's Staten Island, there's Brooklyn, there's the Bronx, there's Manhattan, and all of these people are becoming the city. And the city of New York is being attacked by aliens, and so they have to fight back against these aliens. The aliens are rooted in hatred, so they want you to hate. Every time there's like some drama going on, it's like the aliens, and they're like these weird, like wiggly, squiggly lines coming out, and that's how you know that the aliens have infested their mind, and they feed off of the hate and the anger, and that's how they're kind of destroying the city. And so people who are the city personified have to fight back against these aliens. And it's super interesting and super weird. And I'm just like, sometimes I don't understand how N.K. Jemisin's brain works, because I'm like, how do you even come up with that? It is the most random thing I have ever read. But again, it's one of those books that I don't see spoken about enough. Like, people always talk about the Broken Earth trilogy, but we need to talk about The City We Make too, because it's so confusing and good. So each person who represented a borough, like, they kind of represented what that borough kind of stands for, what people think people who from this borough are, you know what I mean? So it's like Manhattan was like all about the money and stuff, and he was like a business worker. But it's like when these people became their boroughs, became their cities, they kind of forgot who they were previously. And so it's like they were kind of birthed into these beings, but it's like themselves. It's super, like, I don't know. I don't think I'm doing a super great job at explaining it, but you guys should read it. Like, if you read it, I wouldn't have to explain it to you because you would understand. So think about that. Next, we have The Blood Trials by N.E. Davenport. Now, if you're looking for an unhinged main character, pick it up. Pick it up. Ikenna, to me, is like the definition of unhinged. Like, there's nothing she can do. Every time something's going on, she's like, actually, how can I make the most insane decision right now? And that's what she does. She is a hot-tempered, bad bitch. So this follows Ikenna as she searches for her grandfather's murderer. And in doing so, she gets mixed up in a whole conspiracy she probably even got no business being in. She has to navigate a racist and misogynistic society while also hiding the fact that she has blood magic, and trying to survive this deadly training because she's trying to become some elite soldier in this society, because that's what her grandfather did. And so she wants to feel very connected with him, so that's why she's becoming a soldier. And two, she wants to gain more access to find out more information on how her father was murdered and get her lick back. So this is a very much a revenge story, and like the cost that it takes to get your revenge sometimes. And is it worth it? Is it worth it? I don't know. That's, read the book and make that decision for yourself, you know? But I absolutely loved it. I eat up an unhinged character every single time, and Ikena is crazy. I love her so much. I love her so much. I devoured these books. So this is a duology as well. So it has the Blood Trials, and the Blood Gift is the second book in the series. And both of them are absolutely amazing, and they are must read. So if they're not on your TBR yet, put them on. And lastly, this is my last book that I'm going to show you guys. And I already know what you're going to say. Javelin, oh my gosh, like this book is so popular. Everybody already knows this book. Like it's talked about all the time. Da, 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 da. And yes, you're right. But here's the thing. I think you should talk about it more. I think you should talk about this book more. And that is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Yes, this is a Brie Matthews stan account. When you see me, don't ask me how I'm doing. Ask me how Brie Matthews is doing. How is Brie Matthews doing? Because honestly, probably not good. Because she be stressed. Or she be stressing me out. But I loved it. Legendborn follows Brie Matthews as she tries to figure out what happened to her mother. Her mother just passed away. So she's dealing with grief, trying to navigate that while also trying to figure out what happened and why her mom died. And in doing so, she gets caught up in this secret society at her college. And there is so much more going on than I think she could have ever expected. And she realizes that she is so much more powerful than she could have ever dreamed. And Brie Matthews is queen. It has Arthurian lore, if you're into that. It deals with themes of grief and healing and being Black in white spaces and having to navigate that and fight back against people who don't think that you belong in the same room as them. And the writing is so beautiful. Tracy Deonn does such a great job at creating these worlds and really getting into the lore. So much research is done into these books. Like you can tell by the way it's written that so much research, so much thought has gone into these books. I literally love them. The whole series, like not just Legendborn, Bloodmarked. Bloodmarked and Oathbound as well are amazing reads that you need to pick up. I don't care. I don't care if I'm like the 700th person who has held this book up and said, read it. Read it. If you haven't read it, read it. It's literally that good, and it's worth every single second that is spent reading. And I love it. I talk about it all the time. I'm forced my mother to read these books, and she loves them. Like we are both fans because Legendborn is that good and Brie Matthews is that girl. If it's been sitting on your shelf and you've been saying, "Oh, I've been meaning to read that for so long," this is the time. This is your sign. I am the sign, and I'm saying, read this. You see my forehead? It says, "Read Legendborn." Read Legendborn. Like, is that easy? Those are all the books that I have for you guys. All of these books are tried and true. I love them. If you've read any of them, let me know. If you've read any of these books, you're in the right place. You are in the right place, and you should go ahead and subscribe. You should go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit it. Yes. Okay. If there's any Black fantasy books that you want to talk about, let me know. Put them in the comments, okay? Because I want to talk about them too. That's why I'm here. That's literally why I made this channel, so we can talk about it. So let's talk about it. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Please remember to like, share, comment, and don't forget to stay beautiful. Bye. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.